What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. That's the Alexis Arguello puppet.
And I'm your other host, Frank Benji's, back with another one.
Yeah, we got fire tonight, man. We got fire coming into the house tonight, man. An intense dude, man. He's here now, man. I'm psyched up. I've been trying to run this dude down for a while and make this happen, man. I'm excited. Canada, stand up. Got another one in the house. Ryan, what's up, man?
Oh, this is it.
This is listen, man, happy to have you on here. First of all, man, I got to say, man, full disclosure, man, when I came across one of the YouTube videos of you staring down McCallion, listen, I was even scared through the screen. Intense.
Yeah. It cost me to wait. I think that was probably the reason that he postponed the fight.
Yeah. And where does he get off anyway, being able to say, because I saw that someone shared this on your post. I don't know if he's at liberty to do this or not, man, but if Jake Paul beats a top 15 cruiserweight, somebody shared this on your site, you know what I mean, that he'll give him a title shot?
Well, they say that, but that's just the media, because I got the email confirmation from Mauricio saying that I'm guaranteed the shot. I'm mandatory. So there's no, you can't, the only way that could happen is if they offered me step aside money.
Right, you can't just circumvent the whole process. That's crazy.
I'm the mandatory challenger for that belt, and I fought my way to that belt, and I beat contenders to get there. So there's no way that he can step in and get that shot ahead of me. So that's just Noel is trying to put his name out there because he likes attention.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, Ring Magazine number 9, WBA number 8, WBC number 1. That's obviously the one that that's obviously the belt that's got to be in your crosshairs right now.
Yeah, right now it's the WBC.
Yeah,
which is the most prestigious belt. So
I think so. I think it's one of the ones. It's got such a rich history behind it. How does a guy like you? Have you always been? Have you always lived in Canada?
Yeah, I've always lived in. I live in Cape Breton Island.
Lifelong Canadian, huh?
Yeah.
See, so he can sympathize with our upstate New York winters, man. It's got to get cold up where you are too.
Oh yeah, I live on a little island off of Nova Scotia, so it's surrounded by ocean, so it gets pretty cold.
So when you're up in an isolated, I don't know geographically if it is isolated or not, man, but is that a place that's really great and conducive to great training? Obviously, it seems like you're probably out of the way of a lot of distractions.
No, I'm right in the way of distractions, to be honest with you, because it's a small town, so a lot of people like to fight, a lot of people like to get in trouble, so. But I live in an area that's pretty far out from the town, so I live more in the mountains right now. So I try to stay out of trouble anyway.
So if I can backpedal for a little bit and go back and chop it up about your beginnings, how do you even get into the sport of boxing?
I got into it through through a court order, because I was getting charged a bunch as a youth for street fighting, so I ended up getting a court order to join a sport. So my dad decided to put me in boxing. I was 15, so that's what started.
So you were beating asses out on the street. That's how it started.
Beating them and getting mine beat, you name it.
And listen, man, that's a story that we hear a lot because we laugh about it all the time. It always seems like it's either a father that pushes them into the sport, or it's street fights, or usually like a combination of both. So I mean, that is a pretty typical story, man. I mean, and when you're growing up in the sport, or when you get into the sport and you really start getting your feet wet, is there anybody that you look at as like a boxing idol? You know how, when you get into a sport, you kind of put those guys up on a pedestal, Did you have any of those kind of guys?
Oh, yeah, that's actually the reason that I pursued boxing was because I came across a Jack Dempsey video, and that was my idol from the gate was Jack Dempsey. So I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to fight like him. You name it, and that's to this day. It's all about Jack Dempsey. Is more or less like fighting with his style and his rage, everything.
I love the fact that you're going to a callback from way in the past too, man. You know what I mean? Most people say guys a little more current, man, which shows that you're obviously like a boxing buff and a historian, though, man. Because Jack Dempsey on here, I don't know, Benji's doesn't get a lot of love. I wish he would.
I don't think we've ever heard his name. I'm not gonna lie.
No, and come on, man. I mean, forget about it, dude. I mean, he was a heavyweight, like back when he really wasn't, a heavyweight and beating guys that were huge.
Yeah, he was. There was no one like him. He destroyed people. He broke people's bones, orbital bones, jaw.
Hellacious puncher. Yeah.
He was the most aggressive fighter, and I think ever.
So when you So now that you're like involved in the sport and you like look around at your peers, is there anybody that you enjoy watching nowadays?
No, I just watched Jack Dempsey. I watched that era of the 20s. I like Sonny Liston, Rocky Marciano. I don't follow a bunch of boxing today unless it's on. You know what I mean? Like I'll watch it, but I don't really care for it. I like to watch the old stuff where it was like kill or be killed. I just think boxing today is more gone a little bit of like a circus. So
Yeah. So that actually kind of leads me to my next question. And being as that his name came up already, in association with Noel Michaelian, when you see these fights, and we just saw one last weekend, these Jake Paul fights, we ask everybody that comes on here, and it's kind of polarizing. There are people that say it brings eyes to the sport, but I kind of think where you're going to go with this, but I don't want to assume though. But you being an old school mentality guy, you probably don't like these, do you?
no, I don't.
You're not a fan.
I don't. You know what? To be honest, at this point, just if I seen Jake Paul, I'd probably just sucker him in the head. I'm not sick of hearing his name. I get rid of him right there. It would take. I'd have to take a charge for that one.
It'd be worth it, right? It'd be worth it.
It would be. It would be worth every second I'd spend in lockup.
Damn, I love the fact that he's willing to take a charge. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way, man. Yeah, it does kind of feel like it's kind of making our sport like a little bit like WWF,
No, listen, I'm not like that, and I already stated online that I'm not going to do another face-off with the champion unless they're paying me to do it. Because I didn't even want to do it in the first place. I didn't want to fly to Miami and go just stand there and stare at somebody and talk in front of a microphone. That's not why I'm in boxing. Like I said, I got court ordered to join a sport. It was boxing. I found a place that I could, fucking try to hurt
people and get paid for it.
Yeah, I get paid to do it, and I just love doing it.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is that like the face-offs really just don't do it for you. You're just ready to get in there and do what it do.
I'm done with it. I don't want nothing to do with the face-offs and the talking and the media. Like I'll do this stuff, but like as far as like standing there and looking at each other, like I don't want. Like, fuck that. I'm there. I want to smash his head in.
Yeah. And does it get under your skin when you do see him like put something like that up? Does it almost feel like, and I know you're not big into, as you just mentioned, the trading back and forth, insults and barbs and stuff like that. But when he puts a thing out there like that if Jake Paul beats a top 15 guy, he'll give him a title shot, and your name is not in that mix somewhere, does it feel like, a direct sign of disrespect to you?
Yeah, it does. Because, look, I had to fight. I made a deal with the WBC to fight Alante Green and Duradola before.
Right.
That was I had to beat those two guys, and he said, you can get through these two guys. These are two real good fighters.
Yeah.
Duradola was number 8 at the time in the world. I think Alante Green might have been 15. So that's two top 15 guys back to back, and I fought them inside 7 weeks. And during that 7 weeks, I broke my arm twice. I had to get surgery on my elbow, fractured my arm, my hand, cuts, you name it. But I knocked both those guys out to get that shot.
Yeah.
What did Jake Paul fucking do? Did he even get
right.
He punched out a couple of retired MMA guys who were tiny. Like it's not even.
Yeah.
If he somehow manages to jump the line, like I'm just gonna say it how it is and say boxing is an absolute joke. Probably.
You have to. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Benjis.
That's one of my biggest like things about the whole Jake Paul thing is like it seems like after he knocks out another can, they're like, oh, he's about to fight for the title. And I'm like, how is he like skipping the line of like a bunch of guys that really put the dirt in to get where they're at?
It seems very unfair. And he's kind of thumbing his nose at people because he's getting these huge paydays, man. And he's leapfrogging guys who have really grinded in this sport for years and years and years. Since they were 6, 7, 8, 10 years old.
Yeah, it's the truth. He is. At first it was like, oh, cool. Yeah, he was bringing eyes to the sport maybe at the time that it needed it. But then now it's gone a little too far. Now it's gone a little too far to the point where people think that he would actually hang in there with a top 15 guys. Those two guys that I just mentioned that I knocked both of those guys out. Yeah. Both of those guys would run through him. Like he's not at that level. He's not even close to that level.
And you had a And you had a pretty damn good 2023, man. That's the way to get it done, man. 4 fights, 4 knockouts. I mean, do you put pressure on yourself? Because obviously it is easy to be have a record of 20 wins, 1 loss, 19 knockouts. And certainly you are going to get the label of being a knockout artist, you know, with that kind of a knockout percentage. And given the fact that we do still see some awful, awful boxing decisions, you know, does that put any pressure on you when you are a fighter to go in there and say, it's awfully tough in this day and age to leave it to the judges?
No.
You just go in there and do what you do.
I don't care. I just go there and I'm just trying to knock them out or get knocked out. I don't give a fuck.
One or the other. Someone's getting knocked out.
yeah. Like I don't really think that much into it, to be honest with you. Like I said, I just do it because I can do it and not get charged for doing it.
I'm going to go on record right now, Benji's, and saying that I already love this guy.
Yeah, me too. And hey, we're both named Ryan. So
yeah, that's my son right there, man. This is really the only father-son duo in boxing media that we know of up to this point. So, I mean, you know, we got something special going here too, I hope. You know, I mean, it is starting to build a little slow, more slowly than we would like it. But, you know, it obviously all these things take time. You know what I mean? But
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, we got to start somewhere.
Boxing is a niche market. You know what I mean?
It really is. Yeah. So I gotta ask. So after you make weight, after you fight your fight, man, to get to know you a little more personal, man, what's the go-to meal right after the fight is in the books?
I'll go home and I'll smoke some deer meat on the smoker, usually, or bear, moose, or something like that. I just love wild game. That's my favorite thing.
I had a feeling, man. I wasn't even so sure with what a savage you are that it was even going to be cooked. I was just going to say maybe somebody just throws you a side of raw meat, maybe.
I'll eat a little bit raw, but I'm not the whole thing.
There you go.
I was just going to say that, dude. He looks like he just guts the bear and just eats it fucking
right out there in the woods. You didn't even drag it home.
You can't eat bear raw because you'll give you fucking crazy shit.
Parasites
and stuff.
And by the way, man, we're big on like nicknames too, man. And I like what you've done, man. You've kept it old school and simple, man. The Bruiser. You can't beat the Bruiser.
No, there's never been a Bruiser in boxing either. There's a couple wrestlers, I believe, that were named Bruiser. But I actually got that name because I killed this deer that was in this area that I was hunting.
Yeah.
And all the local hunters had that name on that deer. He was a big buck. He was an old fucking gladiator of a buck that was all beat to shit, and I ended up being the one who shot him, so I took his name.
Why am I not surprised you'd be the guy to bring him down?
Yeah, it was a tough one. I had to wait all night to get him.
You mean you didn't go out there with your bare hands and choke him to death?
No, you can't. I would never stand a chance against one of those.
Too big, huh?
Yeah, they're too strong.
So on the same kind of like concept of where my dad just went with the food, if you had to put together the toughest 3 rounds of your life, what song would you put in your ear, or what artist would you like be listening to get you fired up?
Nothing. I wouldn't be thinking about music if I was fighting.
But is there a song or music even when you're training that pumps you up?
No, they got stuff playing in the gym, and I'm just in my own head, you know. I'm thinking about Jack Dempsey. I'm thinking about what they did to people and all that stuff.
I love it, man.
Yeah, I love music. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to boxing and fighting and stuff, that's just I don't need no hype for that.
Don't get me wrong, man. I'm not judging you because of all the tattoos and because of the the history of violence. But I'm guessing that you may be a metalhead.
A little bit. I like metal, but I like Johnny Cash. I like the old school stuff too. I'll listen to Robert Johnson from the old school.
I like that.
All kinds of stuff. Yeah, rap. Sometimes rap music. Sometimes I'll put 50 Cent on. You never know. It varies. It depends on the mood, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Shushu Carrington was on this show. Shout out Shushu Carrington, man. He puts 50 Cent on to get himself pumped up. It takes it back old school, man. Back to the get rich and die trying era.
Yeah, I actually remember. I remember listening to that back when I first started. It's like that was the tunes.
Now, obviously, go ahead, Benji's.
I want to ask you, what does your knuckles say?
Oh, it they used to say hold fast, and then there was something else in there. I got a bunch of random things now, just covering over shit.
I just
got
told my wife I want to get something on my fingers too. She looked at me like I had 3 heads. I've got a lot of tattoos, man, but something about as I've gotten older here, man. Yeah, I don't even know if being 51 years old, it even seems like plausible that I should be saying I want tattoos on my hands. But I work in healthcare though. My day job is a nurse, but nobody gives a shit anymore. You can have tattoos. My wife is a nurse. She just dyed her hair purple. You know what I mean? Nobody really cares at your appearance no more. You know what I mean? They used to be frowned upon a little bit more, but now they're pretty widely acceptable.
Oh yeah, so we're in a different era now. It doesn't matter.
When's the last time you got some new ink? Are you still getting ink, or are tattoos kind of done for you?
No, I'll get more. Like I said, I get tattoos over tattoos. I just whenever I feel like going and get one. I might have got one a few months ago. I think I got something on the back of my head there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when do you think this title fight will happen, man? Like when do you feel like 2024 it won't happen? Are you looking more at 2025?
No, it's going to happen. It's happening September 14th. That's the date they told me. That Mauricio said you're fighting September 14th. And if Noel postpones on this fight again, I think they're going to strip him of the belts, and I'll end up fighting number 2, which I've already fought him before. So.
Yeah, because I feel like I've looked at the rankings, and I feel like, man, like, because I've been trying to run you down for this interview, and we've missed each other a couple times, and, schedules get in the way or whatever, man. But, I've had my eye on getting you on here for a while, man. And I feel like you've been sitting in that number 1 seed in the WBC for a long time. So you've paid your dues sitting there waiting.
Yeah, I did. If you look at my record, I fought a lot of tough fights. My record isn't padded like a lot of these guys. I fought, I stayed in Canada, but I had my promoters bring good fighters here. Undefeated guys, Olympians, prospects, you name it, heavyweights. I fought most of my fights guys were like 240 pounds, big guys. So
yeah,
there wasn't an easy path to get there, and the WBC recognized that, and that's why they put me number 1. That's why they made me mandatory.
Yeah.
Dude, this might be one of my favorite interviews ever. I respect the fuck out of you.
Yeah, it really seems like you're really living like what a lot of other guys just kind of get on there and crow about. Like when you see these guys beefing back and forth on Twitter, man, I really like what you're about. And in doing my research for the interview, I kind of knew some of this stuff. And like you're obviously driving it home even more, man. But you don't see a lot of guys really living that Spartan warrior lifestyle, though. And I think it certainly breeds success, obviously, by the fact that you're 20-0 with 19 knockouts. You're doing something right or whatever, man. But, if you don't mind me asking, do you have like a family, like wife, children of your own?
I got a daughter, yeah.
Okay. And so that's got to be a big motivation too, correct?
Oh, for sure. Well, she doesn't. She's only a baby. She's only 2, but she. If I start shadow boxing and stuff, she'll literally tell me like, "Don't be doing that. That hurts people." And I'm like, "Listen, that's what I do.
This is how I pay the bill. Yeah. This is how I buy you the toys right here. Yeah. This is how I keep you in all those cute, pretty dresses and yeah. I mean, obviously, it's you're always going to use your kids as some type of motivation. I feel like, I mean, it's hard not to.
Yeah, but like I said before, I don't need to be motivated to hurt somebody. That's just in my blood. That's the way I was. That was the way I was raised. Like my dad had me fighting kids, and we grew up in a trailer court. He used to make me fight when I was like 7 years old. He used to make me fight all the other kids in the neighborhood because dads would be arguing over whose kid was tougher. But I'm like 7, 8 years old, and their kids are like 15 to 20. So I was like a small kid fighting all these guys that were like almost fully grown men. So I've been fighting. That's like just the way I was brought up, was to fight. So.
And you hear that new woke generation, man, which is always talking about not doing this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, but that was how it was back in the old days.
I don't listen to any of that. If anybody says that to me, I'll fucking punch them in the mouth.
Crazy. Yeah, out of 140 episodes, I think this one is slowly rocketing up to up to one of my favorites. It's definitely cracking the top 5, Ryan. It really is. It really is. I like a guy who really lives that warrior lifestyle, man. Because as I said, you do see a lot of guys who act like they're about it, but they're really not about it, though. You know what I mean? And I like the fact that you stay out of the disputes, and you don't have a lot of use for the face-offs and the beefing back and forth on social media and all that kind of stuff. Because that really wasn't what boxing was initially about. And you're speaking to your point earlier, it does seem like it's got watered down a little bit. It does.
I've been around a little bit, and I got to see like modern fighters at these press conferences and weigh-ins, and I traveled to like England and stuff and seen these fighters in real life, and like it's just a facade, you know. They're not. They're. Don't get me wrong. They're good, but they're great athletes. They're great boxers. But like these guys aren't. Like there was guys that I've seen online talk shit, and then I've met them in real life, and I'm like, let's fucking run it then. Like let's run it in the parking lot tonight, you know. And they're like, what are you talking about? We need to get paid to do this. And I'm like, you disrespected me, so let's fucking fight. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I like that.
They're like, oh no, we don't do it. Like, so I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm done with this. I don't even watch these guys anymore. I couldn't even tell you who's in the top 10 of my weight division.
No, I mean, like you said, man, like 140 episodes, dude. You're like a breath of fresh air, man.
Yeah, you really are, man, because a lot of guys do come on here and bark and wolf. And no disrespect to any of our past guests, man. You know what I mean? They all have their own separate personalities and their way to sell fights and their own gimmicks and their own, approach to selling themselves as a product or as a fighter or whatever, man. But it is refreshing, man, like to have you drop the name Jack Dempsey and to really adhere to those old school principles. You know what I mean? Don't think it's lost on us, man, because we really do appreciate it, man. Like we take the sport very serious, passionate. We obviously don't compete in the sport, but you know, even as boxing journalists, man, you know what I mean? It is refreshing to find guys out there, man, who are really like, living what I think is really by the credo of what a boxer should be living by, you know?
Yeah, well, you got to respect the guys who brought us to this point, you know. And I think
No doubt.
a lot of the guys today, you ask a young kid who's first getting into boxing who their hero is, and if they say Jake Paul or Ryan Garcia or some of these guys, it's like, what about fucking Stanley Ketchel or John L. Sullivan? Like these guys, they don't even know anything about the history, so it aggravates the fuck out of me, you know.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Yeah, I do. So,
the big question of the night, Ryan, is your Mount Rushmore of boxers. Who would be your big four that you would put on the Mount Rushmore in face of the presidents?
What do you mean by that? What's Mount Rushmore?
The Mount is in Colorado. We have a Mount Rushmore, and it's 4 presidents. It's George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. It's 4 like big faces from history. Basically.
Yeah.
So what the question is basically like your big history of boxing. What would be your 4 guys?
Well, it depends. You're talking about like the 4 greatest fighters or my 4 favorite fighters?
Your 4.
Yeah, yours. Yeah. Completely subjective. Yeah, your 4 guys.
Jack Dempsey, Stanley Ketchel, John L. Sullivan, and I would say Rocky Marciano.
I love it, man. He reeled them off too, man, with such precision and such quickness, dude. Didn't even bat an eyelash, man. And now one single guy, man, past the 1950s, man.
Past the 1950s?
No, I'm saying you didn't name a single guy who fought past the 1950s. I love that, man. You kept it old school.
I thought you meant to name one. Roberto Duran would be.
Yeah. I could definitely see you picking a guy like Roberto Duran. Yeah, for sure. And if the fight happens September 14th, you know, do we have like a venue? You know, how much information can you give the fans out there about it? Do you know where it'll be held?
Well, I'm told it's going to be in the same spot it was originally supposed to be, the Hard Rock Casino in Miami. That's what I'm told. September 14th, it's happening. I'm waiting for a contract. I was supposed to have one last week. Then I was supposed to have one this week. I've been just sitting here waiting patiently, training. So it should be announced, like I said, by next week. And if not, it's his side that's playing games right now. They really are. Like, that's the honest truth. He's playing games, and ever since, that's why I'm not doing no more face-offs. I'm not doing none of that because the fight was all scheduled, and I know what happened. We went and we faced off, and he realized that I'm not there to talk. I'm there to try to break his skull, and he said, I need more time. Because there was no cut. He postponed due to a cut. My dad flew to Miami to go up to confront him at the fight card when we were supposed to fight, and my dad literally went this close to his face. I got videos of it, and was like, you don't have a fucking cut, you liar. You ducked my son. And then this is the same dad who made me fight when I was 7, so he's all about this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not so sure I'd want your pops in my face either.
And the guy literally flew to Miami just to confront the guy I was supposed to fight. That's how serious we are about this. So he didn't have a cut. He said there was not a mark on his eye. This was 2 weeks after the supposed cut to be postponed. Like, this is facts. So I think what happened was he just wanted more time to train, to prepare, because he knew that he was underestimating me. And then now here I am sitting here waiting, and I think he's still contemplating it in his head what he wants to do. He's milking holding that title.
I think he might still be a little shook. I mean, I implore people to go out there and find it. I know it's not your thing or whatever, man, but if you want to see like a face down, or a face off, man. I mean, you and Noel McCallan. Well, I don't even really want to call it like a stare down. It's pretty much you staring him down, man. And if he wasn't shook after that, for God's sakes, I could tell even through the screen that he was shook.
Yeah, I could feel it. Like he said he wasn't and stuff, but I watched his interviews, and the first sign of fear is when somebody laughs or smiles or tries to make a joke out of it, because they're trying to convince themselves in their own head that, oh, that guy can't be serious. Like, no, man. He said in an interview that I was acting. I did a good job of acting. I'm like, there's no acting here. I don't get paid to act. Like, I'm in here to break your skull. And the more and if the worse I hurt him, that's the better my life gets. The more I'll get paid in the next fight. Like, if I leave the champion twitching on the canvas, the next fight people are going to want to see it, especially when they look at
doubt about it.
And my history stuff. So there's no act here. Like, no, I really want to like beat the living fucking shit out of you, buddy. You know.
And there's no doubt about it, man. Like, you may, as I said, you may not be a fan of him, man, but an intense stare down, though, man. I mean, I could feel the intensity coming through the screen, as I said, man. So I can obviously tell, man, that this is a guy that you want to get your hands on, man, for sure.
Oh, that's another reason I'm not going to do another one, because I know I'll hit him the next time.
Yeah. Now, now you're at Cruiserweight. You've been campaigning at Cruiserweight for a while, man. But going forward in your career, do you see yourself staying at Cruiserweight, or have you thought about, any moves to other divisions?
Well, I mean, I fought. If you look at my record, I fought heavyweight quite a few. I fought Oscar Rivas, who's a heavyweight, and I'd fight anyone. I walk around about 200 pounds, so I'm not even really cruiserweight. I'm more like the size of a light heavyweight, but I'm not. I like just like Jack Dempsey though. This, like he used to say, big men will come down to his height when he hits them in the body. So I got no. Yeah. I'd step in there any day of the week with Joshua or Fury. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah,
that's a good attitude to have right there, man. If a big fight presents itself, you're kind of. And staying at that weight of 200 is a nice one, because you can really make, a lot of different weight classes, Yeah,
I don't cut weight. I don't mess with my weight. I just eat healthy and weigh in. I don't cut weight. I don't do any of that stuff. I do it the same way they did back in the day.
Yeah.
I'd like to see your fucking savage mentality in there with like a beater or something. I think that'd be a banger.
Yeah,
that'd be a good fight. Someone would definitely get knocked out for sure.
Yeah. Obviously, that's a fight that everybody wants to see, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's one that's really a boxing fan's, fight. And I know you said you don't really look around the sport at other fights or whatever, man. So I won't ask you to predict it, man. But obviously, like, that Beater Biev is kind of like the light heavyweight version of you, pretty much what you do. You know what I mean? Keeps it pretty Spartan. We've had his trainer on the show a couple times, Iceman John Scully. He doesn't follow the sport, Beater Biev. He's very disciplined. He doesn't watch from a fan standpoint or keep up with statistics and all that kind of stuff. So, he very much is kind of living in that same vein as you are,
I'd say he's more disciplined than I am. I still go out on a weekend, time, drink a bunch of beer. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not that disciplined, but I mean, I guarantee I train just as hard as them, and I guarantee that I was in a gym. I trained actually. I went to a gym and sparred with can't remember the guy's name. He fought Joe Smith Jr. They brought me in because guy was fighting Joe Smith, so he wanted me to prepare him. Eliter Alvarez.
Yep.
So I went to his gym to spar with that guy, and that Russian guy was there.
Yeah.
And I watched him train a little bit, and like they were talking about his power and stuff, but I don't know, I was hitting the bag right next to him, and I wasn't making the same cracks that my punches were making. So
yeah.
But I'm also a little bigger too.
If I ever go to Canada, dude, I'm fucking calling you up.
Yeah, we're looking you up when we come up north, man. Yeah, you show us a good time. I want to go out on a night on a town with you, getting into some fucking shit.
I got to be careful with that nowadays. But I mean,
well, listen, man, we won't get you. We won't get you in that much trouble. I mean, for God's sakes, I am a father and a grandfather. I got to conduct myself somewhat accordingly. But I mean,
those who hit and run away live to fight another day.
Yeah. Those who hit, that's good words to live by, right there, Benji's. It really is.
Yeah, it's true though.
And so what would be the plan, when you do get the belt, the WBC belt? Because I'm going to say it, man. I'm not going to say if. I'm going to say when you get the belt, man. Is the plan to stay there and attempt to unify these belts, or how much stock do you put in attaining the belts. Obviously to some people it's not a big deal.
No, I don't care. It's just for me, like the belt is just a tool to use to get people to fight me.
Yeah.
I got no. It doesn't matter to me about that stuff. I just care about getting those fights and fighting the best fights that are going to give me the, guys that are going to give me the toughest fights and beat me so I can fight them again. I don't care. I don't care about winning and losing. I just want to fight. I want to be in dog fights and wars and get dropped. I've never been dropped yet, so I'd like to get dropped to see how that is, and then get up and keep fighting. And
I've never heard a guy say I want to get dropped.
I know, I love it. I
want to see if I can how quick I can beat a count if I get cracked with a good one. But I don't go to. I never gone down. Like I fought heavyweights and took a lot of big shots from Rivas and stuff, and someone will get me down eventually. But I can't wait till that happens.
Someone will get me down eventually. Yeah, but you don't know that for sure, though, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So far, nobody has. I mean, and you're pretty decent ways into your career, though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So far, so good.
Maybe somebody will come in and just, I don't know, hit you over the head with a bat. Maybe that's the only way to do it.
All right, that's been done too.
I have a feeling you might say that.
Yeah, that's been done quite a few times.
It sounds like you're just a guy that just likes to fight. You just seem to like the physicality of it all.
No, I literally, this is all I do. I think 24/7. I think about fighting. I think about violence.
Yeah.
It's a battle for me literally all day, every day, not to punch somebody out like this. I worked my whole life on discipline. If it wasn't for boxing, over my daughter's life, I wouldn't be here because I would be locked up for life because that's what I love to do. I literally love to hurt people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going on record right now saying this is my favorite interview of all time. Fuck it.
Congratulations, Ryan ROZICKI.
Glad I could help you.
Hey, listen, man. Anytime that a guy comes on here, man, with that refreshing of an old school mentality and calls himself the Bruiser and is all about putting hands on a body, man, we're in love with that, man. I mean, that's the best right there, man. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, man. I mean, I think you are the epitome of what boxing is all about, man. And I think the sport needs more guys like you who don't want to just get on Twitter and beef. I can beat you. I can beat you. Oh yeah, sign the contract. This and that, and all the going back and forth, and then we just, it's the fans that get ripped off the most because we don't ever see these big fights. They just become these, these war of words,
Yeah, no, that's not for me. I'm not into that. So
and it really does water down the sport, man, because there's so many great fights out there to be made, man, and all these guys act like they're willing. But sometimes when it comes right down to it, though, they're not all that willing, because we should have already been done seeing some of these fights. Like everyone's making a big deal now about Lomachenko walking away and not taking the Tank Davis fight. But then again, you got to remember this guy wanted Tank Davis 5 or 6 years ago. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it feels like you're kind of cherry picking him at a point in time in his career now, man, like when he's deemed a little bit of an easier target, Yeah,
it's a business to these guys. Even the fighting part is a business.
It is.
There's so much facade and fake in this business. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. What can you do?
Yeah, like you strike me as the type of guy who probably hates the business end of it, right? Obviously, like you like the making the money part, but the business end is probably frustrating, right? Because like you would already had, a fight with McKaylian would already been done. If you had your way.
If I had my way, I'd have over 100 fights by now.
Right. Right.
I would have won. I guarantee I would have won at least like 70 or 80 of them. But I mean, I would have had 100 fights by now. I've been driving my promoters nuts to get me a fight this weekend because they're putting a fight on. And I'm like, put me on there. Don't promote it. Don't tell no one. Just let me go in and fight somebody.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that. Yeah.
So you would never entertain the idea of like these Jake Paul type fights. Like if Jake Paul were to somehow drop your name or call your name, not that would be a wise idea at all, but I mean, you don't even really seem to like what those fights even stand for.
No, I would fight him just to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I would 100% fight him. But I mean, I don't think I would make it to the fight because they would want me to do all that other stuff, the talking thing and all all that shit, and I'd end up with a charge because I'd end up cracking the freaking loser.
Yeah, that is awfully tough, man, because they like to make it like a circus and they like to pull all those hijinks and everything, and you don't seem like you'd be about all that.
Yeah,
Huh?
Like they do like a fucking road tour.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's kind of like a traveling circus.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Like, if he wants to fight, you give me a date that weekend, and I'll show up and we'll fight, and I'll knock you the fuck out, Jake. That's about it. But other than that, like, and I know he wouldn't. The guy wouldn't go 3 rounds. He wouldn't make. He'd be lucky to get out of 30 seconds. I seen him fight. I watched one of his fights. I don't remember which one it was, but I watched one of his fights. He's not even close to that level.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. So the fight as it stands right now, to the best of your knowledge, for the WBC Cruiserweight Championship of the World against Noah Mikhailian should be happening in September.
September 14th at the Hard Rock Casino. To my knowledge, like I said, like it's
okay.
Still waiting on a contract, but you know, as long as he doesn't get cold feet again.
He can only duck so long, though. Can only duck so long.
That's the thing, right? So one way or another, I'm fighting for that belt, whether it's him or number 2. It don't matter to me anymore. I don't care if it's him. I'd like it to be him because I genuinely really want to hurt that guy. Like, I want to hurt him very badly. If I say things publicly that I want to do, I'll probably be banned from boxing. But yeah.
Well, it is the hurt business, though, man. I mean, this is how guys used to talk back in the day. And then suddenly everybody either became, like, comfortable with talking, as I said, over social media or being very chummy and friendly, like, around each other, man. But there used to genuinely be real animosity going into fights sometimes. Not always, man, but sometimes, like, you know, like a little chippiness going into a fight. Like, you know, it certainly doesn't help, you know, it certainly doesn't hurt, you know, the sale of a fight.
Well, it's a fight. At the end of the day, it's a fight, and this is the closest thing we got to the Roman days when gladiators fucking fought, and then somebody would go like this is what we have. So
yeah,
you know, in my mind, that's where I'm at. I'm in those days. So
yeah, I'm going on record right now as saying Ryan ROZICKI right now, man, is my favorite fighter, Bood. I'm done right there, man. I'm saying it, Ryan.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, and listen, man. I'm glad we finally got a chance to, you know, to have you on here, man. You know, I know we touched base a little bit last weekend, or you know, in the last couple of weeks, you had your daughter, blah blah blah. You know, I mean, different scheduling difficulties, but I'm glad we finally got a chance to nail this down, man. I know you had a long day of training. We talked offline or whatever, man, but so glad that you made this happen, man. We appreciate the hell out of you, man. This has been a lot of fun. Please stay in touch with us, man, and we'd love to have you back on for sure, man. And certainly, as soon as the fight is a green light, you know, hit me up and let me know, man, so we can help promote it on our end, man, and put the episode up. And when I put it up, I know you're not big on the social media, but I'll send you a link. Feel free to share it around.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm on social media. I do mess around a little bit, so
yeah,
I'll do that for sure.
On the screen with the gold strap on your shoulder.
Yeah, don't forget us. Don't forget us, man. Like when you're the world champion, man, come back on our show, please, man.
I will.
Yeah, I know, man, because you seem like the kind of guy that's an upstanding man of his word, man. So, like, when he says it, I actually do believe it, man. You know what I mean? Like, we will see Ryan ROZICKI back on the show. Hell, man, we like you so damn much there might be a regular segment on here, man. We might have Ryan ROZICKI's fucking, you know, outlooks and opinions on here once a goddamn month if you're down for it.
Yeah, I'm down. I don't mind at all. You guys,
I love having you on here, man. It's refreshing.
Corner.
Yeah, yeah, Ryan's corner. But listen, man, appreciate the hell out of you, man. If we don't talk between now and then, man, best of luck if the fight does go down. Keep us tapped in for sure, though, man. And we love what you do, man. You know, stay healthy, man, and best of luck going forward, my man.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. No, thank you, man. Really enjoyed this, man. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Talk to you soon, man. Man. That's refreshing right there. That's refreshing to hear a guy talk openly and candidly about wanting to get his hands on a body and living a Spartan lifestyle, man, and just a true warrior, man, a throwback. I mean, you know, you hear it a lot, man, old school, throwback. That right there is the epitome of what that means right there.
Jake Paul, you wouldn't last 30 seconds, motherfucker.
No. I'm not even so sure, man, fucking judging by the stare down. And I'll send it to you, the one he had with Noel Mikhailian, man. But I'm telling you, man, I would be shitting pickles, man, right there, man. I don't even know that I'd even want to climb through the ropes, man. I'm telling you, man. That's a true warrior right there, man. I love that mentality, thinking about fighting, you know, not having your mind convoluted with all the current nonsense, you know what I mean? Just keeping it, man, in the past and looking at those guys, man, who were real warriors, man. Love that he dropped Jack Dempsey's name. I've read tons of shit on Jack Dempsey, man. Jack Dempsey was what it was. I mean, he was what it was all about, man. 170, 180-pound heavyweight back in the day when there were still 240, 250-pound heavyweights, you know?
Right.
And he was beating them.
Yeah, man.
That was fucking fun.
Shout out Ryan ROZICKI, man.
The Bruiser.
And if you are not liked and subscribed and hit the notification bell and tapped in on Facebook with Off the Couch Boxing, you're a fucking bum.
Yeah. Me, Benji's, and Ryan ROZICKI are gonna to start our own little fucking road trip, man. Our own traveling circus, and we're gonna come from town to town to find out who's not subscribing and beat your ass.
Right.
Ryan ROZICKI's knuckles need a workout.
He's willing to catch a charge. I'm willing to catch a charge.
Yeah, we'll all go down. Fuck it, man. We'll all be cellmates, man. We'll all go down. I don't give a fuck anymore.
And with that being said, baby, shout out Gary Busey, because I can go 15 seconds with anything.
And make sure that you're liking and following us on Facebook, and like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this channel, where the best boxing conversations anywhere in the Milky Way galaxy or this universe, they happen right here, man. This is where boxers come and chop it up like no place else, man. We get down to the nitty gritty, man. So if you're all about that, man, get tapped in with us. And remember, if you want to be a champion, you got to roll with the champs.